Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder why some tough situations make you feel great, while others just drain you? This new study dives deep into that question. It turns out that feeling good when facing a challenge, what scientists call eustress, isn't just about the situation itself. It is a whole mix of things going on inside us. This research looked at how we experience eustress in real life and what factors play a role, using a method that considers both the person and the situation. So we all know about stress, right? It is that feeling of pressure. But there's also this other side called eustress, which is like positive stress. It is when a challenging situation makes you feel alive, engaged, and can even lead to growth and learning. Think about giving a big presentation you've prepared for. It is nerve-wracking, but also exciting and rewarding. The researchers here wanted to understand eustress better because knowing what makes positive stress happen can help us actually foster it. Now, most studies on eustress ask you general questions like, how do you generally feel when you are stressed? But imagine trying to answer that. You'd probably just think of a few times that come to mind. And that might not be the whole story. This is where the researchers used a cool method called the Situated Assessment Method, or SAM2. The idea behind SAM2 is simple but powerful. To understand a behavior, you need to look at it in the specific situations where it happens. So instead of asking about stress in general, they presented people with many different real-life challenging situations. For each situation, they asked participants how much eustress they felt. But they didn't stop there. They also asked about 9 specific things, or processes, that are thought to influence eustress, like how well you cope, if you feel a sense of fulfillment, or if you achieve successful outcomes. They wanted to see how these processes work together in the moment, in each specific challenge. They picked 20 different challenging situations that people in the UK might face. Things like giving a public speech, trying to close a big deal at work, or even dealing with a parking ticket. These situations varied in how challenging they were, so they could see how eustress might show up differently depending on the situation. To figure out the influencing processes, they used a theory called the Comprehensive Hierarchical Construct of Eustress, or CHI. This theory breaks down eustress into different sources, basically doing things to achieve goals, enjoying the moment, and having good personal qualities. From this, they picked 9 specific things that they thought were most likely to influence eustress in the moment, like positive feelings, feeling fulfilled, and being good at coping. So, what did they find? Well, first off, they confirmed that people are really different when it comes to eustress. Some people generally experience more positive stress than others, and these differences were reliable, meaning they weren't just a fluke. Second, the situations themselves made a huge difference. Some challenges, like trying to close a big deal at work for a bonus, brought out high levels of eustress for many people. But other, less significant challenges, like dealing with a parking fine, didn't get people riled up in a positive way. This heat map really shows it visually. Each row is a person and each column is a situation. You can see how one person has very different eustress experiences across different situations. And importantly, as hypothesis 2b suggested, there were substantial individual situation interactions. This means how you experience eustress in a situation depends not just on the situation itself, but also on who you are. One person might find a particular challenge to be super eustressful, while another person facing the exact same challenge might feel nothing. Now for the processes. They looked at those 9 factors we talked about earlier. And guess what? They found that these factors were strongly related to eustress. For example, when people reported feeling positive emotions and fulfillment in challenging situations, they also reported higher levels of eustress. It seems like experiencing positive feelings and satisfaction during a tough time is a big predictor of eustress. This chart shows these correlations. See how those red lines are pretty far from zero. That means these processes are really connected to eustress. Things like positive affect and fulfillment had the strongest links, which makes sense. Even seemingly less direct ones like connection and mindfulness still had a noticeable impact. And it was indeed just that these factors were related. They explained a lot of why people felt eustress. In fact, these 9 factors together explained about 83% of the variance in how much eustress individuals felt across situations. That's a massive amount of explanation, showing that these processes are key to understanding eustress. They also compared their SAM2 findings with older ways of measuring eustress, which are less specific to situations. They found that their situated measure of eustress was related to trait eustress, which is like your general tendency to experience eustress, but not strongly. Interestingly, they found that their measure of eustress was related to general trait distress, suggesting these are quite different things. Even though someone might feel generally stressed out in life, they could still experience eustress in specific challenging situations. In a kind of exploratory part of the study, they looked at how all these facets fit together. They found that what they call a general eustress factor really captured most of this eustress experience. Almost all the different facets they measured, from achieving goals to feeling connected, loaded onto this one big eustress idea. This dominant general factor, which they found to strongly correlate with eustress in situations, suggests there is a core aspect to experiencing positive stress. So what does all this mean? Well, the study really highlights that eustress is complicated. It is not just about whether a situation is hard or easy. It is about the interplay between you and the situation, and what is going on internally. They confirm that individual differences matter, situation differences matter, and the combination of you and the situation interaction is super important. This aligns really well with older theories about stress. It confirms that when we're facing challenges, our unique personalities and how we interpret things are going to influence whether we feel that positive buzz of eustress or just feel overwhelmed. The Che theory seems to hold up well, especially for understanding eustress as it happens in the moment. From a measurement perspective, this study shows that how you measure eustress really matters. Using a situated approach like SAM2 gives a much richer picture than just asking general questions. It is like trying to understand someone's taste in music by asking them their favorite genre versus asking them to rate specific songs. This has some really cool practical applications. Imagine being able to create personalized profiles for people, showing them exactly what helps them feel eustress. For example, if for one person, environmental support is a huge driver of eustress, then in their interventions, you'd focus on building those social or physical support systems. For someone else, maybe it is coping and action, so you'd help them develop those skills. This figure gives us a glimpse of what those personalized profiles might look like. You can see how different people have different patterns of eustress and how those 9 factors relate to their eustress levels. It suggests we can move beyond one-size-fits-all advice and really tailor strategies to help people harness positive stress. Now, no study is perfect. This one is correlational, meaning it shows that things are related, but can't prove that one thing causes another. They also point out that the situations were specific to the UK, so they might not translate perfectly everywhere. And, of course, self-report measures always have a chance of measurement error. So, to wrap up, this research gives us a much deeper understanding of eustress, that positive feeling we get from challenges. It shows us that it is all about the individual, the situation, and the specific processes within that interaction, like coping, fulfillment, and achieving outcomes. The SAM2 method provides a way to capture this complexity, offering exciting possibilities for creating personalized strategies to help us all experience more of that beneficial eustress in our lives. What I find particularly exciting here is the idea of individualized interventions. We're not all wired the same way when it comes to stress, and this study provides a framework for understanding those differences and using them to help people thrive. It really emphasizes that our response to challenges is dynamic and highly personal. Future research could definitely build on this by trying out different interventions based on these profiles and seeing if they actually boost eustress. If you found this interesting, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more insights into the amazing world of psychology.